I spend all of my money on garbage. It's where all my money goes. I fill my truck with stuff nobody wants and I pay cash for it. And I'm enabled to behave in this way that I suppose other people have to really second guess. I have a lot of sympathy for like crazy lady who has a labyrinth of stacked newspapers in her house and the place smells like cats. We all know this sort of personality type that goes wrong. And I feel like I have that gene 100%, but I'm blessed to have this other thing that allows it to be a productive endeavor instead of just a crazy person. You know, this collecting, if I didn't have that extra ingredient that allowed me to put it together, would just lead to a house full of crap. The pieces usually start with sort of finding a personality in an object, like stumbling across it. But I can't really deny that by the time it's done, I've taken a good degree of control over it. Here's a good one. A meter that will register moods. Now that I have this face that sort of has a bad and good facial feature setting, I'm hoping to set him up so that as his eyes change, his mood indication will change as well. What was this? There's a heavy-duty, the back of a heavy-duty drill, but immediately I see a face in it. This floor polisher is just awesome. Heavy-duty. An old hammer drill has these awesome lines on it. You know, you're not going to find an object designed this way now. But that's all the joy of working with found things, is you get to recontextualize in any way you want. You know, it was made for one purpose, and you can decide it's better suited for something else, and who's to stop you? When I was young, I imagined myself as an animator. I still absolutely love stop frame animation. So all of these pieces began, you know, drawing cartoons, copying out of comic books, watching science fiction movies. Once I got fully aware of the process of animation, I was just immediately struck with how boring and not for me it was. It's the same amount of time. It probably takes just as long to get a few seconds of motion out of a real robot than it does to animate one. But that time is spent in a way that's ultimately more pleasurable for me because I'm involved with my machines. You know, I'm up to my elbows in grease and I'm playing with parts, and it's a tactile experience that gets me to the same or similar endpoint. I'm not making science fiction. I'm not writing the story. I'm not producing films. I'm making sculptures. Because by technological standards, I am, extremely clumsy. There are people making real robots that can speak 7 languages and clean your car. I'm delivering the promise of the dream of early sci-fi, not the reality of what's possible, because it doesn't interest me. So somebody else will do it better. I'm doing caricatures of what didn't quite come to pass. After years of education, I was just at odds with the heaviness of my colleagues and the expectations to be working from these deep places of pain and negativity, but it didn't sustain me the way this kind of playful approach does. So once I was out of school and had no one looking over my shoulder, it was sort of an instant transformation, and I just gave myself completely to the impulse. And my experience is that if I can be open to that kind of impulse in the moment without really stressing why am I picking this strange thing up today, but to just trust the impulse, save it, allow other similar items to accumulate, that they'll start to take on their own character, the way these figures seem to almost build themselves. You know, when things are going well, they're doing it without me. I'm just sort of hands helping them assemble themselves. When I look at my body of work as a whole, there's this theme of kind of empty bluster. There's a lot of sort of tough little guys that don't quite have it. You know, they think they're mean, but they're not quite there. So for there to be this consistency throughout all the other pieces, I must be playing a role in it, but it's pretty much subconscious because I'm just picking and pulling what I find to begin with. I definitely am loath to see them go. In a perfect world, yeah, they would just be surrounding me and perpetually growing in force and number.